Hello, everyone. This is Linda Paquette. I am filling in for Nanette Kennedy today. This is Conversations with God Book Club, and we are currently reading, hang on. We're currently reading Tomorrow's God, Our Greatest Spiritual Challenge, and we are on Chapter 2. And I guess I'll just go ahead and commence. And remember, when I'm reading, folks, I cannot see you. So if you have comments or questions, just interrupt me via audio. Okay, goodbye to yesterday's God, Chapter 2. Most of humanity believes that God decides which humans are included in the word us. We then form groups or clusters around what you have decided, and we call them religions or faiths. You, God, then assure us that you will be bringing us back to you by telling us what is best for us. Those humans who are not included in your definition of us will not return to you under any circumstances, nor will those who are included if they do not do what is best for them. People in these two categories will be condemned. They will suffer in the internal fires of hell. Is that what you believe? Truly? Is that how it is for you? No, not really. No, it is not. At least not anymore. Not after experiencing and understanding all of my conversations with God. But it is still the belief of most of humanity. And I come to this dialogue now to speak for most of humanity. You do? Why? Why are you doing that? I want to ask the questions that I think most of humanity asks, to say the things I hear most of humanity saying. Why? So that humanity's question may be answered, so that humanity's voice may be heard, so that humanity's experience may be enlarged, enhanced, expanded, even as mine has been, so that joy may abound and peace may prevail upon the earth, even as joy abounds and peace prevails in my soul when I am in my highest place. You want to give to humanity the gift that you have been given. Yes. Why? Because I want to receive the gift that I have been given, and the best way I know to do that is to give it away. Giving your gift away causes you to continue having it? Yes. The gift I give is the gift that I experience. How so? Because only through expression of who I am can I have the experience of who I am. Withholding my expression withholds my experience. Because that which flows through me sticks to me. Because there is really only one of us, and I am a part of that one. And so what I cause another to experience, I experience. And what I cause myself to experience, another experiences. Because what I cause another to know, I know. And what I cause myself to know, another knows. Because what I cause another to receive, I receive. And what I cause myself to receive, another receives. Similarly, what I withhold from another is withheld from me. And what I withhold from myself is withheld from another. For I cannot give what I do not have. And I cannot have what I do not give. Only through the giving of something can I receive the having of it. Without giving, the having is not experienceable. Giving transforms having into being. I can imagine myself as having creativity, but only through the giving of my creativity to others can I express or experience being creative. I can imagine myself as having abundance, but only through the giving of my abundance to others can I experience being abundant. I can imagine myself as having love, But only through the giving of my love to others can I experience myself as being love. Giving transformations, having into being, and the miracle of giving is what we are giving only to ourselves. This is always the case, and this is the great secret of life. It is the unfolded mystery of every spiritual tradition. It is the universal law, and it cannot be avoided, nor can it be bypassed, sidestepped, or ignored. It will play its effect in our lives sooner or later. Thus it has been taught, as you sow, so shall you reap. And do unto others as you would have done unto you. What goes around comes around. What I know is that the fastest way to experience myself as having answers to my questions is to cause others to experience themselves as having answers to theirs. So now I speak for most of humanity, asking the questions of most of humanity and making the statements of most of humanity, so that more of humanity may have and know God's responses to these questions and statements, even as I do, so that I may continue to know that I know. You have learned well, and you have understood, and you have caused others to understand, and now you seek to cause even more to understand, so that you may understand more. So a circle completes itself in you, and a prophecy is fulfilled through you. For I have said to all of humanity, unto you I will send my messengers, and among you will they walk. Not only one, but many, not only in ancient times, but through all the ages, bringing you the knowing of the truth of your being, even as that truth emerges in and through them, as them. And they will say unto you, listen, listen to this invitation. There is another way. There is another way to experience God. There is another way to live life. Your differences do not have to create divisions. Your contrasts do not have to produce conflicts. The variations in your belief do not have to bring violence to your lives. There is another way. Yet you will not find that way by searching for it. You will only find it by creating it. And you will not create it by remaining stuck in old beliefs, but only by opening yourself to new ideas about God and about life that can truly light the world. I want to help bring those new ideas to humanity, even as they were given to me. So continue now this dialogue, if that is what serves you, even as you serve humanity through this experience. For in this dialogue, I will speak to you of tomorrow's God, who will be different from the God of your yesterdays in many important ways. I will also speak to you of a new spirituality, a kind of spirituality that will allow humans to express their natural impulse to seek and to experience the divine without making each other wrong for the way in which they are doing it, and without killing each other in the name of it. I will describe how this new spirituality will play its effect when overlaid upon the experience and constructions of your human society, specifically in the areas of religion, politics, economics, business and commerce, education, relationships, and sexuality. There is much to explore in our conversation, so yes, let us continue. Yet as I continue this dialogue, I want to repeat that I no longer speak only for myself in every instance, with every comment as the asker of every question. In truth, the truth is that I already have my answers to many of the questions I will be asking. Yet many humans do not, or they do have answers, but those answers do not work. They do not function to bring humanity the experience it says it seeks, or the humanity where it says it wants to go. Still, these humans are trying to make the answers work. They are trying to be faithful to the answers they have been given, and they are miserable in the trying. They are tired and saddened in the effort. They are confused and angered by the process. And so you have a miserable and tired and saddened world, a world that is confused and angry. This is evidenced all around you. Now you have a choice. You can see this, announce it, declare it, or you can deny it. I choose to see it, announce it, and declare it. I think it is time to say what is so. I think it is time to talk about it in very real terms, very openly and directly, to look at the issues and to look at the problems and to look, most important, at the solutions. Good. Then we will proceed with the awareness that you are allowing yourself to ask rhetorical questions and to make rhetorical statements for the purpose of presenting the perceptions of many people, not just your own. Thank you. And so to get back to where we were, it is the perception of many people on this earth that your job, God's job, is to tell human beings what is best for them. You tell us what is best for us, and then it is up to us to do it, or else. This is a simplified restating of one of humanity's sacred beliefs. That belief is a fallacy. It is not God's job, and it is not God's purpose, and that is not God's function. It is the job and purpose of the God that many of you have created in your imaginations, but not of the God who really is. It is the function of yesterday God, not tomorrow's God. Now that's the second time you've used that phrase. What do you mean by tomorrow's God? The God in whom you will believe on some future tomorrow, the God in whom you will have faith in your future. So we are going to get a new God, not a new God, but a new understanding of the present God, an expanded concept, a deeper awareness. But you agreed with me when we started this conversation, we needed a new God. I was going with the words you were using, not wanting to get into semantics in our first brief exchange. I knew all along what I meant, and I knew all along that I would have a chance to explain it to you further. So what do you mean? As I've just said, I meant not a new God, strictly speaking, but a new version of God, a larger version of God. This is the same God who always was, is now, and always will be. It is simply not the God of your present understanding. Your understanding has been incomplete. I am inviting you now to expand your awareness and come to a more complete understanding of who and what God is, and of what is true about life. I am inviting you to create tomorrow's God. What if I don't want to let go of yesterday's God? What if I'm really attached to those ideas, and by the way, happen to think that they are the right and true ideas about God? Well, then you will continue to create your life as you know it now on your planet. So, what's so bad about that? Look around you. You like what you see? Then go ahead. Continue to believe what you believe. But don't think things aren't going to change. It's not a question of if, but how. Everything is going to change. And sooner or later, so will humanity's beliefs about God. That is when you will say goodbye to yesterday's God. When is this going to happen? Actually, it's beginning to happen right now. Really? Well, so much for being what saves the world, because it's not changing anything. Yes, it is. You're just not seeing the change. You're not aware of it. But as the changes increase, as they spread, you'll become more and more aware of them. Indeed, you'll become a part of them. When will this process be complete? Never. The process of seeing and experiencing more and more of God is never ending. That's the joy of it. Well then, when will it be complete enough for things to start getting better around here? Soon. Very soon, if humanity is willing. Hang on, I need to cough. Well, what does that mean? It means that if humanity makes this choice, a movement, a radical shift in humanity's understandings about God could occur rapidly, easily within your lifetime, within 3 decades, perhaps even faster than that once the first domino falls. It is simply a question of reaching critical mass. What will that take? Not nearly what you might think. Some people assume that critical mass is more than half, but it is not. Nor is it 25% of the whole, or even 10% of the whole, nor even 5% of the whole. Critical mass is reached when 2 to 4% of the whole is affected. Watch the surface of water as it's brought to a boil. The boiling point is not reached at the point when over half of the surface is bubbling. Long before. The effect of critical mass is exponential. That's what makes it so powerful. A few bubbles break the surface of the water, then in a sudden rush, all of the water is boiling. So a relatively small number of us must make the choice to create that shift in our understandings about God. What could make humanity willing to make that choice? One of two things: more hatred or more hope. Another world-shaking disaster born of rage and wrapped in violence and killing, or a global awakening produced in another way. In what other way? Other than disaster and calamity, there doesn't seem to be a way for human beings to wake up. Oh, but there is. There could be a worldwide movement to spread not terror, but peace, joy, and love. There could be a massive grassroots undertaking with people all across the globe mobilized at the community level to change the way things are. Just as there are now terrorist cells, there could be spiritual activist teams all over the earth. This would require leadership, of course, and it would require great commitment on the part of those who follow those leaders. But it is possible, it can be done. And the first step lies at the level of thought. Humanity's future depends on what humanity thinks about itself. It depends on what humanity thinks about God and life. From your thought springs your reality. From your ideas, your future emerges. Thus, your beliefs create your behaviors, and your behaviors create your experience. What you believe, therefore, becomes a most important thing. What creates beliefs? Can anything in the exterior world of physicality create beliefs? Yes. What? People? People can. People in your exterior world can create interior spiritual events, first in themselves and then in others. Many have done this. This is what you are doing now. This is what all of humanity can do. But how? How can we do this? That is the golden question. There are many ways in which one may begin. Name one. You're holding it in your hand. End of chapter. Does anybody have anything they would like to discuss?
Yeah, this is really impressive.
In what way?
Well, it was written so long ago, Linda, long before any of us were really scared like we are now. I mean, the horrible climate events and the general state of the world. Especially China and India and Brazil and all these places. I mean, things have become very seriously dangerous. In the 14 or 15 years.
Yeah, certainly appearances have.
And the critical mass business is very interesting because now, at least for me, there's an endless array of spiritual teachers who keep trying to get my money to take their course.
Yeah.
Everyone and their dog is a cell for bringing peace on earth, but they're going to charge you big bucks for it.
Yeah, the thing I was thinking about as reading this was Barbara Marx Hubbard, who has been suggesting that people form spiritual circles in their community for, I think she's been suggesting that for at least 20 years.
That sounds right. And you've been doing that in Seward, haven't you?
Yes.
And they're well attended, obviously.
No.
What?
No. It's a real struggle. It's a real struggle.
Your ACIM is going well.
But that's just me. See, that's actually why I decided to do ACIM, is because after, just so everybody knows, after I finished this reading, for years now, I've been holding a Sunday circle. And building an audience, building the community has been insanely challenging. And a lot of times, nobody shows up. And so I got to a point where, and when I first started, I used to do, I'd prepare lessons. You know, I would prepare something to talk about, but then no one would show up. And so, or one person would show up. And so then what? So do I use the lesson again later? For, and it just really became hard to manage. So that's why I switched to reading A Course in Miracles, because no one's going to show up today, I'm pretty sure. But I'm going to have something to do. I'm going to live stream it to the world, whoever wants to read it or listen to it. And I'm doing it, right? And I'm doing it a lot based on what Neil has taught us. I just do it. I do it. And I do it for me, and I do it for anybody that wants to be here. But that's why I switched to reading. So I would actually have something, and I read it and I live stream it no matter what, if anybody shows up or nobody shows up.
Well,
But I know other people around the country, just let me finish the thought, that have been trying to do circles for years. And they've had challenges as well.
I've got a comment when it's time.
Okay. I think go ahead, Anne.
Oh, okay. Well, my experience with all these years of spiritual groups and stuff, the attitude that you're taking is one that sobriety is based on. That you show up and do it for yourself, and you help others, and you can't say whether or not that's going to happen or anything, but your spiritual side, that's how you keep your spiritual end up. And the only groups that I see that I've been a part of is like Alcoholics Anonymous is one of the most spiritual groups. My home group, one of the most spiritual groups I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
And the other two places that touch on it is like Science of Mind, the centers, and then we don't have, I'm not familiar with Unity here, but I know Unity is like that. But as far as small spiritual groups, my experience is the same, except what's amazing is our spiritual group here. I mean, it's been the 6 or 7 or 8 of us for 3 years now, if not longer, because I know I came in after all you guys. So, but to me, the commitment that we have here is truly remarkable. I mean, we're connected in a very special way. Over.
I agree with Anne. I agree with both of you that it's really powerful when people show up. And I've been running groups in Scotland and in England, and for years nobody showed up, or very few people, and just suddenly it started to grow. But I'm fine if I'm just there, but it's even better if more people are there. So I think what you're all doing is excellent. Over.
And also, before the call ends, can you give us that information for the Course in Miracles so we can support you if we can? So we can at least be there for you. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Shabana, did you have something more?
Yes, I do indeed. I'm going to read something. I'm going to read something from the Manual for Teachers in A Course in Miracles,
Okay.
which impressed me this morning. What Sarah has just said and what Anne has expressed is, I think, a part of this, and also what you said, Linda, about the big attempt to gather people, and finally you're just going to send it out into the world, and that's that. But, well, I mean, I could read it, See, it's sort of like the story in the Bible where everyone's invited to the wedding, but they have other things to do, so they won't come. So here it's page 33 in the manual for teachers, and it's section 13. It says power, fame, money, physical pleasure. Those are basically the excuses for not attending the wedding. Who is the hero to whom all these things belong? You see, could they mean anything except to a body? Yet a body cannot evaluate. So essentially what we're talking about is you've sold everything for a mess of pottage, you know, that God's teacher has basically answered the call to sacrifice illusion for truth. And the sacrifice is essentially that all the things we hold dear, the things that crucify God's Son, and it is the course's aim to set him free. Like, in other words, by renouncing illusion, we get truth, and truth consists of peace and freedom. Those are my paraphrasing of pages 33 and 34 in this book. And yet, the only way that this can be done is by living it, that as we live our lives, like by their fruits ye shall know them, or something like that. You know, like that's the idea, is that our lives are testament to our belief. And sooner or later, people will figure it out, but I don't think it's going to be that much over.
Hi, Bima.
Hi. I think the bottom line is the line of trading illusions for truth, because I know that that's the mind. You said the body isn't capable only for those things. Well, I believe that the mind isn't capable either. So it ends up being the soul or the spirit that chooses the spiritual path. And I'm part of the University of Spiritual Healing and Sufism. And again, it rings true. It's the walking for really wanting to know the truth and being willing to look at your belief systems and where your illusions are taking hold of you as truth and letting go of them. It's not so easy. Over.
But you're doing it, aren't you, Anne?
Absolutely.
And Sarah too.
Yeah, no, I think I always find it very inspiring when somebody else is doing something spiritually active. Like I find when Nanette does so many things on Awakening Day, even if I don't get to do them, and when Linda is putting things out, it's always really inspiring, even if you don't get to do it yourself, I think.
Well, it looks like they're preaching to the choir, but I don't think they are. I mean, it's you who's complimenting them, and me too. But I think the ripples or the echoes go far and wide.
Yeah, yes.
sorry for being late because I have been away. I just took a chance. But you have already read the chapter, have you?
So we're glad you're here.
Did you hear me?
What did you say?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you have already read the chapter. It's already done.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I listened to
Yeah.
you what we discussed.
Who's going to
Okay.
post the recording, Linda?
What?
Who's going to post the recording?
It'll be Nanette.
All right. I don't think he's done this for the past 2 weeks.
I don't know what happened to your audio. You've gone away.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Faded away. Yeah. Yeah.
So we haven't had any recordings for the past 3 weeks.
Well, she said, like I said earlier, she said she's going to post last week's this afternoon.
And today's, so that Dima can hear it.
Yeah, I don't know when she'll do that. I don't know. See, when I do this for her, I'm using her account and I'm recording it into the cloud for her so she can retrieve it right away. So should we read a little more? This next chapter is kind of long. I don't think we'll get to finish it. But what are your thoughts? Read? Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. This is chapter 3. Introducing tomorrow's God. So we're right back where we started. Yes, when I said this book is meant to save the world, I meant it. But what is it going to tell me that the other books haven't? Nothing. 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 And this is going to save the world? Well, it could. It was meant to, and it could. So if all I'm going to read here has been in other books, why bother reading this book? The world is on the brink of disaster, and all the stuff in the other books hasn't helped. Correct on the first count, incorrect on the second. All the stuff in the other books has helped humanity stave off disaster in the past. The world's esoteric wisdom has helped it correct its course before, and it can do so again. But that wisdom must now be expanded to take into account humanity's expanded possibilities for self-destruction. Education is the key. It is the most powerful tool you have. Educate everyone. Tell everyone about God and about life. Eliminate literacy, then eliminate functional illiteracy, and then eliminate spiritual illiteracy. What is required is nothing less than a new worldwide communications network and a new worldwide message from humanity to humanity itself. The more you know about how to destroy yourself, the more you need to know about how to save yourself. It is time now to expand your base of knowledge of God and of life, to grow your understandings, and to increase your awareness, and to enlarge your consciousness. It is time to move from the old spirituality to the new spirituality, to let go of yesterday's God and embrace tomorrow's God. That is not going to be easy. People don't like letting go of the old for the new. So let's make it clear one last time that what we are talking about here is not a new God, but a new experience of the old God. Sometimes it takes a new saying of an old truth, a new sharing of an old wisdom for that truth to be heard and for that wisdom to be understood. All the truths and all the wisdom that we will share, that I will share with you here, have been shared before. Every so often in human history, your ancient understandings have been restated for modern times. Thoughts previously expressed have been expressed again in a new and expanded way. Abraham did this. Moses did this. The Buddha did this. Jesus did this. Muhammad did this. Baha'u'llah did this. Rumi did this. Joseph Smith did it. Many masters and many teachers, known and unknown, have done this. Many are doing it today. Okay. But what if I say that my old ideas do not include any belief in God at all? What if all this talk about God just turns me off, makes me frustrated, or takes me to no place in my mind in which it has any meaning or reality at all? Tomorrow's God will not require you to believe in God. He won't? No, she won't. And that's the first important difference between yesterday's God and tomorrow's God. Number one, tomorrow's God does not require anyone to believe in God. Wait a minute. Tomorrow's God will be female? Yes, except when she's not. Then he'll be male, unless he's not, in which case God will be neither male nor female, but rather without gender. Without gender? Without gender, size, shape, color, or any of the characteristics of an individual living being. And that's the second important difference between yesterday's God and tomorrow's God. 2. Tomorrow's God is without gender, size, shape, color, or any of the characteristics of an individual living being. You mean tomorrow's God is not a living being? No, not in the sense that you mean those words. How can that be? If God is not a living being, then what is God? Well, now, that's what this conversation is going to be all about. But let me tell you a story. A woman steps onto a balcony late one night to gaze at a diamond-filled sky, tears in her eyes, seeking answers to her questions, healing for her breaking heart as she searches the heavens. She feels alone, desperate. God, she says, if you're there, show yourself to me. I can't go on like this anymore, all alone. Abruptly, a shooting star screeches across the velvet sky. The woman's heart stops. She can't believe her eyes. Now, I have a question for you. What is God? Yes, I believe it was God that made that shooting star happen. No, I did not ask you of God who made it happen. I asked you, what was God happening? If that was God happening, well, I don't know how to answer that. It could have been a coincidence. And what caused the coincidence? Well, I would say that God caused it. But then we're back to a definition of God that states that God is the cause of things, not the things that are caused. Do you suppose that God could be both the cause and that which is caused? Do you think that God could be both the creator and the created? I never thought about it that way. I know others have, of course. The great thinkers of human history have explored this topic repeatedly. An entire system of thought, pantheism, has developed around these explorations. Pantheism holds that the universe is one with God, that the creator and the created are the same. More recently, physicist John Wheeler has proposed a conception of the universe that he has called observer participancy, or a closed-loop participatory universe in which, as quantum physics would have it, nothing that is observed is unaffected by the observer. In other words, the creator and the created are one, each creating the other. Or, you have often put it, we are God, godding. But no, at first glance, I would say that God is the creator and we and the world and the created. And if I didn't believe in God at all, I would say that what caused the shooting star to fall just then was random chance. And random chance selected that random moment for that random occurrence. Yes. If I did not believe in God, I would say that, yes, the occurrences were caused by randomness. What do I know? What are you asking me? I'm telling you that it could have been nothing more than what happened. In fact, that it happened just then would have no meaning at all except the meaning someone gives it. Now you have hit upon something. Nothing has any meaning at all save the meaning you give it. Now in the story above, what meaning do you give the star shooting across the night sky at the exact moment the woman is asking God to give her a sign of God's existence? I don't know what meaning to give it, really. I don't know what to make of it. I wasn't there having the experience, so I don't know what to say about that. What do you think the woman might say about that? She might say that the shooting star was caused by God, or that the shooting star was God, answering her prayer right then and there. She might be moved to believe either of those things, given the synchronicity of the event. Indeed. And if she believed the shooting star was God, do you think she would experience God as male or female? Oh, I see what you mean. And I tell you that tomorrow's God will change form as each moment and each individual seeking to experience God dictates. Hold it. You mean we get to decide who and what God is? Why are you so surprised? You've been doing that since time began. You call this religion. Religions don't decide who and what God is. Religions simply tell us what God said about that. And who says what God said? Religions. So who is saying what? Religions are telling us that God, what God told religions, or rather, what God told those upon whose teachings religions are based. In other words, what God told human beings. Yes, what God told human beings, but in very special revelations to very special people at very special moments in human history, such as the revelations being made here to you at this time. Oh, well, now that's a pretty big stretch for most people. I don't think that most people are going to believe or accept that God would choose to reveal himself to me personally in the form of this on-paper dialogue, if that is what you're asking. I'm very clear that they might not accept yesterday's God would, given what you believe about him, but they might allow as to how tomorrow's God would, because tomorrow's God will talk with everyone all the time. And that's the third important difference between yesterday's God and tomorrow's God. 3, tomorrow's God talks with everyone all the time. How? How will this occur? Will everyone be having conversations with God? Everyone is having conversations with God all the time. That will be an important message of the new spirituality. God is communicating with humanity in every moment. I did not stop talking to human beings 2,000 years ago, nor have I ever selected only a few human beings to whom to reveal myself. I am revealing myself to all human beings all the time, yet only a few human beings have embraced these revelations, have seen them for what they are, and have held them as sacred, and so it seems as though only a few have received them. God, the force, the energy, the design, the the experience that some call divinity shows itself in your life in the way that is exactly and perfectly suited to the time, place, and situation at hand. You either call the experience God, or you call it something else, coincidence, synchronicity, random event, whatever. Yet what you call it does not change what it is. It merely indicates your belief system about that. If you believe that the way life is showing itself to you now is God, you will see it as God. If you do not believe that the way life is showing itself to you now is God, you will not see it as God. Some say that seeing is believing, but I tell you that believing is seeing. As you believe, so it will be done unto you. That is correct. That truth has been taught by many masters, and in the future, many more humans will experience God's communications as exactly what they are, revelations from the divine. People will not require God to show up in one way and only in that way. People's beliefs about God will expand, and this expansion will increase their awareness of the God that has always been there. I am going to stop here because it is 5 minutes till, and we want to give Shabana time to do the meditation. And then, and after we stop the recording, I will tell you the ACIM information. Yeah.
I do want to say that what she just read, I think it only has the meaning you believe in was actually from A Course in Miracles. It only has the meaning that you attach to it.
And also it was one of the daily lessons.
Yeah,
one of the daily lessons is exactly the wording that that was read here. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. And also, but Shabana, hang on. Also, today at and maybe Shabana will when she chimes in, she can fill us in a little more. But in addition to the Course in Miracles work that I'm doing, there is a humanities team book club that meets at, what time is that?
4 Pacific.
4 o'clock Pacific. 4 Pacific, 5 Mountain, 6 Central, 7 Eastern. There is also they have a Course in Miracles group, which I joined last week for the first time. It was lovely. Okay, Shabana, take it away.
Lord God, we thank you that you are speaking to Sarah Summerson, Nanette Kennedy, Linda Lamp, Anne, Mary, Angela Means, and Bima, because we've all shown up here. There are no coincidences. And right here, right now, we thank you for this powerful group which honestly believes that we are as powerful as you, and that the deepest desire of our hearts is to hear you clearly and to do our utmost for your highest. And we thank you for that. Amen. Okay.
Thank you, Shabana.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now, and then we could talk another minute.